Well, hello and welcome to another day on Cornwall Pocket Farm, where I try and figure out how to live sustainably on 300 square metres in the city. We are in the garden today, and you might have noticed I'm not in the conservatory, and that's because it's earlier than usual and the sun's in a position that it would actually come right into the camera, which would not be great for filming. So I've brought you outside, and hopefully this will work. It's a bit loud because the cicadas are making a lot of noise and buses are coming past. Today we are all about tidying up and drawing a line under the summer garden. We've had 3 serious weather events this year. Started off with Cyclone Halo. That took the top of my marquee down, and there was a lot of wind with that, but the garden did okay through that. Then we had the Auckland anniversary flooding here in Auckland, and that, oh my god, so much rain, and that really affected a lot of the garden. A lot of plants did not like that much rain. I did a video based on what the property was like when we bought it versus the alterations that we've made, and how essentially that had stopped us being evacuated. If we hadn't done the renovation, we would have had a house full of water and we would have been evacuated and everything would have been destroyed. And then we had Cyclone Gabrielle. Oh my god, I've never seen anything that bad. It was really extreme wind and rain, and when we had the power back on, I could charge my phone. I did a video and I was really quite pleased that we hadn't had that much damage. But what I hadn't realised at that point was that the winds had been so extreme that they'd picked up salt water, salt spray from the harbour, which is only about 3 kilometres from us, and then sprayed it all over the garden. And of course all the leaves just basically curled up and died, went brown, and so yes, I've been trying to sort of resurrect some of these plants, and I just thought, no, give up. Let it go, move forward. Well, that's a bit of a dilemma. I'm actually now trying to take these beans out, and some of them are regrowing fresh leaves. I don't know whether to leave it in or whether to take it out. I think I'll leave some in and take some out. Yeah. Well, I can't lie, it's quite disheartening. I'm just, yeah, some things, if they have a chance of life, I've sort of left in, really only because I have nothing else to go in their place. I have sown some more seedlings, but they're not quite ready to go into different beds yet. So yeah, I am giving some things the benefit of the doubt, but yeah, just tidying up I think is the best option, trying to take all the dead leaves off. It's not the way I usually do things, so it's requiring a lot of decision making as I go along, which is quite tricky. But for instance, I mean, these courgettes here, we've only had 3 courgettes off these 2 plants, and my friends have pulled their courgette plants out. but they're still looking healthy. And they are starting to make courgettes again, so I don't know whether they are going to do a last push, you know. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Am I just soft? Maybe. But I've got nothing else to go in their place, so they might as well keep trying, really. So I've decided to harvest these soybeans. I'm not quite sure if this is when you do it. They look like they're going a bit yellow. And I thought we could just harvest them now. I will leave the plants in because, again, they're plants in the soil. So it would be better for the soil health to keep them in the ground. But I'm going to take all these soybeans off because, yeah, I think they're probably ready to come out. Okay, so that's done. I'm only managed to do one bed. I just really did the England bed, tidied it all up, left some stuff in, took some stuff out, just tidied it up really, just so I could sort of feel like I could get on top of it. And I've also sown some other stuff in there. So I've sown some cocoa dwarf beans and some Roquefort dwarf beans, and I just scattered a few seeds around. So anyway, I'm stopping now because it's quite hot and it's obviously going to take me longer than I thought. So I'm going to do it over the next few days, and the weather is supposed to hold quite pleasant for the next few days before some more rain comes in, of course. So I thought I would stop now, and I need to go to Bunnings to get some string, and I need some seed potatoes, and I think they have the seed potatoes in, or according to their website they do, and perhaps some garlic. So that's what I'm going to do next. Okay, well that was a waste of time. I looked online, they said they had lots of potatoes and a lot of choice, and they had garlic. So off I went on the bus, and they haven't got any. They're stock taking and it's an error on the machine. So now I'm going to get the bus again, and I'm going to try Mitre 10, see if they've got anything like that. Okay, so no joy there either. So yeah, got out and about, but I got some string. Yay! Anyway, I might have to look at getting that online. Yeah, online and delivery is often the way. So the next job is to pot on the seedlings. I sowed some seeds a few weeks ago now, and they've been in the conservatory germinating, and now they're getting too big for their pots, so I need to pot them on, and then there'll be another couple of weeks probably in the cold frame before I can get them out into the garden. And these are my initial winter sowings, if you like, and to be honest, a couple of mad summer sowings that I just thought, oh, I'll bung them in, just why not? So we'll go and get those, and then we'll get on with it. And the other thing you might have seen is my new pots just behind me. I don't know if you can see them. I've got two small round ones and a really large square one, a smaller square one, and another couple of little terracotta ones. So it was a friend of mine that lived up on the park, and they were moving into a much smaller property and had all these extra pots, and she said, do you want them? And of course. So I've got new pots to play with. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with them yet, but yeah. Right. Need to make a bit of space. Actually, I think I might use some of these I've got a couple of melons that I'm, yeah, these are my mad sowings. I thought, oh, I'll put some melons in. Don't know what I was thinking, but there you go. I've got a couple of melons. So I might put those in a bigger pot like that. I've got a couple of those. Right? Oh, one's bigger than the other. What's that one? Oh, I've got a new pot. got a new pot. Look at that one. That's even bigger. Right. These, I think, are the pots. Yeah. And of course, I'll need some compost out of the chicken coop. So this is essentially, you know, when I put all the garden green waste in the chicken coop, they basically kick it about and make it into this really lovely enriched compost. So I should be using this in the pots as well. It sort of means that I don't need to use as much of the bought stuff, and I think it also really sort of enriches it. Okay, so I've potted up the melons now, and you can probably see them down here in the corner that I just put them down there. So I find that the plants that sit on this concrete, which is the old carport, actually have a slightly extended life, like they can grow more into the winter because the concrete actually absorbs the heat from the sun. So anyway, it's a bit of a mad idea, but it's 7 seeds, so I thought I'd give it a whirl. This little pot was also from my friend, and I thought I might put some lettuce in here. I've got some little lettuce seedling that needs potting on, so I thought I'd put a few in here, and then these will go just by my front door, and then they'll be easy to pick for salads and things like that. So that's the next plan. I'm going to do this. And of course, I need the magic pebble from my dried riverbed. They just go in the bottom of the pots where the hole is, and they help with drainage and just stop the compost going through. So what I do is I fill it up mainly with the special compost from my chicken run, and then I will top it up with the outdoor container mix. And that's just where the little seedlings start off, in the container mix, and then their roots can go down into this material, which is just a little richer, I think. It seems to work well, and it's much cheaper because I don't use much of the container mix, so it works well. The lettuce are pricked out now, and they're in the cold frame. And next I have some sweet banana capsicum, which I have found more success with overwintering and growing them in the conservatory than putting them in the garden. They're okay in the garden, but I don't seem to get a great harvest. So I've got 4 little seedlings here. I'm just going to prick them out into their separate pots, and then they will probably go back into the conservatory. Okay, so they're done. You're in the way, Maggie. It's going to get wet. Okay, so they will just drain there like that and then go back into the conservatory, I think. What's next? I have, it's quite a long job this, I've got some rainbow chard, I've got some green sprouting broccoli and some purple, that's the summer purple sprouting broccoli, which got enormous last year, and I planted it in spring. So I'm going to try planting it in the autumn this year, because it doesn't seem to produce until next spring anyway, so we will see. And then I also have some broccoli, some non-sprouting broccoli, and this is a little cardinal red chard. There's always bits of stick and lumps in the, what am I using? I'm using some potting mix, organic potting mix, so there's a few twigs and things. I basically just tap it down like that to settle the soil, and then use another one of these just to squeeze it in the top like that. So these I just get from the garden centre. They have a big recycle bin outside, and you can just, I think you're supposed to put the pots in there, but I generally just pick out the ones that I want, and these are great for doing seedlings in. So I've got quite a collection which I just keep reusing and reusing. So yeah, they're great, and then they're just little modules that I just pop out into the garden, and they're pretty robust. They've lasted, well, these ones have lasted 3 years so far, so yeah, they do pretty well. And my handy dandy equipment just from an op shop, little op shop find. And I'm very careful when I put my hand in to keep my head away from this compost, so that because obviously the Legionnaires risk, and also it's very well ventilated here. I'm outside, of course. I think if I was doing it in a greenhouse, then I'd be a bit more concerned. And as I say, if I'm doing a lot with compost where I'm in close proximity, I will put my mask on. I should probably wear it while I'm doing this, but to be perfectly honest, it can get very hot out here, and if you're doing a long job like this, it's a bit hard having this thing on your face. So I've sort of made some workarounds so that I don't feel that I'm at risk of the whatever's in the bag, by just not breathing when I go near it and doing it outside, and obviously not putting my face near the compost when I'm getting it out of the bag. How many will I need? I think I need a few more than that. A lot of seedlings. I never think you can have too many, because if I get too many I can just give them away, and I hate to get rid of growing things. That's them filled, and now I need to prick out these seedlings. Can you see them on shot? I don't know if you can. Yeah. So these seedlings here, these seedlings now, I will take them out and take them apart, and then make a little hole in here with this handy dandy tool, which I got, I don't know, oh, it's got markings on it. I think it was a gift actually. Anyway, little tool, make a little hole, and I've got a bigger one. Where's my bigger one? I use this bigger one for the garden, but for seedlings I just use this little one. And then in my little tin I have a marker pen, and then I have, oh, I should tell you about these. I have my little seedling markers, like this. And I make these out of an old Venetian blind. They're the little metal ones, and when we moved into our house, there were all these Venetian blinds, these metal Venetian blinds in there. And I kept one or two of them, and they make great plant labels. I don't know what they're made of, aluminium or something? But I just chop them to length, put a little spike on the end, and then they're perfect for writing on. And then they go, neat as anything, into these little seedling module trays. Right. So, got a lot to do here. I'll bring you back once I've done it all. Okay, so I have potted on all of those seedlings. They're looking a little sad at the moment. They always do when you rip them out of the soil. Well, gently prise them out of the soil and then repot them. But they'll perk up in a little while, and yeah, they'll grow on hopefully if the slugs and snails don't get to them, but hopefully not. I've checked around and I can't see any slugs and snails in the immediate vicinity, but we'll have to see. What I've also done is I've covered those up with some frost cloth, really just to keep the birds off them, and also just to give them a little bit of protection just while they're getting established. So I just need to get some of those rocks from my dry riverbed just to hold down the frost cloth, and then it will be good to go. And I shall just put the lid down on my cold frame just so that it gives them a little bit of protection. There we go, and there's a brick underneath there, so there's a little bit of air that gets under there, so it doesn't get too hot. And the glass is a bit dirty, and that's okay because it'll just filter the sun a little bit. So, so I'm quite happy with that being a bit dirty at the minute at this time of year because it gets quite warm. Okay, well, I've only got 3 more beds to do now, so I better get on with it.